Indy 500 Films presents The Legends of the Brickyard.
Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins and welcome to our continuing series, Legends of the Brickyard. Not only did 1990 signal the start of a new decade, but it may have also marked the changing of the guard. It had been 25 years since foreigners Jim Clark and Graham Hill recorded consecutive wins here at the Brickyard. And not since the early 80s had car owner Roger Penske been shut out of victory lane for 2 straight years. With that in mind, sit back and enjoy the 1990 Indianapolis 500, which produced one of the biggest upsets in the history of the greatest spectacle in racing. It's May 1990. And the population of this Indiana city has swelled by hundreds of thousands. The story of a year's worth of preparation will be told on this one day in a race that will become the fastest in the history of the Indianapolis 500.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at that time of the day for the command that will start the 74th running of this event. And here to give the traditional 4 words is Chairman of the Board Emeritus of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mrs. Mary Frederick Hallman.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The search for speed is about to begin. Even as the first car rolls onto the track for that first practice lap, fans begin gathering to track their personal favorites. The power players are here, as are the would-be contenders. And looming in the background is the ever-elusive Mother Nature, who at times wreaks havoc with the weather and drives these restless war horses back to the barn to wait for a brighter day. For veteran players of this sport, this racing spectacle is a spring ritual. No one is more familiar with the perils and prizes of Indy than A.J. Foyt, who has captured 4 wins here in 32 consecutive starts. Johnny Rutherford, Mario Andretti, and Al Unser are here too, each bidding for his silver anniversary 500, each hoping that experience can outdistance youth. For rookies, the Indy 500 is a rite of passage. Crossing the finish line here is a ride to the big leagues. Just getting here is a long road that is often fraught with frustration and diminished dreams. In 1990, 8 will try. Only 3 will make it. As teams stage their first practice runs, it becomes clear that the battle for the pole will be between the Penske and Gallus teams. Rick Mears raises eyebrows with an unofficial lap at 224.389 miles an hour. For others, though, the search to match Mears and the leading speed merchants during the first week becomes a difficult challenge. The wall-bangers delayed the plans of some, but all bounced back to continue their bids for a starting berth. 24 hours before the race for the pole, the teams unleash their heavy artillery. Mears boosts the top speed of the month to 226.3 miles an hour. His Penske teammate, defending champion Emerson Fittipaldi, then hits 2 laps at better than 227. Not to be upstaged, Al Unser Jr. takes a Gallus machine to the month's limit at 228.502. But on the first day of qualifying, with hopes high for track records and a battle for the pole, Mother Nature literally steals the thunder as a cold, steady rain leaves the contenders in waiting. The next day brings an early drizzle that threatens to wash out time trials for the weekend. But the rain stops as drivers and teams get ready to qualify. Fittipaldi is first out and qualifies at a record 4-lap average of 225.301. Bobby Rahall's Gallus machine is fourth to qualify, and he averages 222.694. 2 cars later, Mears squeezes between Fittipaldi and Rahal with a run of 224.215. 15 drivers complete runs before the track closes for the day. Others, like Unser Jr., Foyt, and Ari Luyendyk, must continue their wait for another week. This marked the first time in 12 years that the pole position was not decided during the first weekend of time trials. Back in 1978, not one car was able to qualify due to rain that first weekend. Tom Sneva captured the pole that year on day 3, but his record run of just over 202 miles an hour would miss the 1990 field by almost 10 miles an hour. The day of reckoning arrives for those with visions of knocking Fittipaldi from the pole. Sullivan is first out and reaches 220.310. Luyendyk becomes the 19th qualifier at 223.304, good enough to oust Rahal from the front row. If the run holds, it will be a first for Luyendyk and Team Shearson on Indy's front line. Unser Jr. is next, and the crowd anticipates another record run. But the Albuquerque driver falls short, reaching an average of only 220+ miles an hour for the 10-mile run. Foyt, Sneva, and others fill the field, but Luyendyk is the fastest of the day. On bump day, the final search for a speed good enough to make the field begins. Drivers have the chance to knock out slower cars, which have already qualified. John Paul Jr. makes it, but others practice and wait as the clock winds down to the 6 o'clock closing gun. Veteran Saul Walter makes the field with just a few minutes left before the end of time trials. He hasn't made a field since 1979, but qualifies fast enough to bump Jeff Andretti. His crew is ecstatic, but he is now the man on the bubble. Johnny Rutherford, bumped earlier, makes a last-ditch effort to qualify for his 25th race. But he's too slow, and the team waves off after 2 laps. Rutherford streaks back to the pits to give one last driver a chance. It's Rocky Moran. Moran is on it as Walter watches. It's close, but Rocky bests Walter's time over the 4-lap run by less than half a second to bump his way into the field.
Comes to the car and congratulates and shakes hands.
By the sound of the final gun, Al Unser has made his 25th lineup, and so has Mario Andretti, who joins his son Michael and Bobby Rahal on the second row. The lineup is complete, and 33 cars will compete for the richest prize in auto racing, the Indianapolis 500. Emerson Fittipaldi joined an exclusive club, becoming only the 5th defending champion to win the pole position the following year. The others are Frank Lockhart, A.J. Foyt, Tom Sneva, and Rick Mears. And owner Roger Penske's dominance in qualifying continued as he placed at least 2 cars on the front row for the 4th time in the last 5 years. That special moment that drivers and fans have waited for is here. The start of the 1990 Indianapolis 500. The field lines up and makes its way out of turn 4. The front row brings the pack up to speed for the most exciting moment in motorsports. Fittipaldi grabs the lead from the pole and leads Mears and Lyondike, whom some view as the dark horse, through turn number 1. Lyondike recalls the start.
Having witnessed Emerson over the last years, I didn't really think it was a good idea to go into turn 1 and try and challenge him for the lead, because I knew he was going to be aggressive. I didn't really want to mess with him on the first lap. I didn't think that was necessary.
The defending champion sets a blistering pace, averaging more than 206 miles an hour for the first lap. By lap number 4, he's averaging more than 213 miles an hour, a race record at this point. By the 10th lap, though, Bobby Rahal has vaulted to second, and Mears has faded to 6th with handling problems. Meanwhile, Lyondike, the quiet Dutchman, holds on to 3rd. On the 20th lap, Danny Sullivan brings out the first caution flag of the day when he slams into the turn 1 wall. A.J. Foyt, bidding for a 5th 500 victory, barely slips past the spinning Sullivan. The crash leaves the Penske team with Fittipaldi and Mears to carry on its victory hopes. The second caution light comes on at lap number 45 when Tony Bettenhausen stalls on the track. And the leaders head to pit road for service. Chevy Beretta pace car brings the field around for the green flag. Fittipaldi continues to set a hot pace, maintaining his lead. Unser Jr., Rahal, Michael Andretti, Lyondike, Foyt, and Mario Andretti are the only drivers other than the fleet Brazilian on the lead lap. Shortly thereafter, Mario's Speedway luck strikes. Andretti's engine has overheated because of a punctured radiator. With Mario on the sidelines, Pancho Carter brings out the caution again when a CV joint breaks, sending him into the turn 4 wall. By the 80th lap, Unser Jr. has started to move, taking over second from Rahal, his Gallus teammate. Fittipaldi continues to hold a commanding edge and sets a record by leading the first 82 laps. Michael Andretti, Lyondike, and Foyt are still in the hunt.
In his first 5 Indy starts, Fittipaldi led only 12 laps, with his best finish a second in 1988, a year in which he failed to lead a single lap. Then in trying to become the first back-to-back winner in 20 years, he led 256 out of a possible 300 laps through the first half of the 90 race. In leading the first 92 laps of this year, he broke the previous record set by Frank Lockhart in 1927.
Fittipaldi runs his tenure on the point to 92 laps before pitting and turning over the lead to Luyendyk. As the Dutchman takes command, Michael Andretti's luck follows his father's footsteps. After steadily rising to third, he comes to pit road because of a brake fire. Luyendyk's first tour at the front is short-lived as Fittipaldi returns to the lead on lap 95. By the halfway point, rookie stars are starting their rise. Eddie Cheever has charged to 8th, and Scott Goodyear makes his move toward a top 10 spot. Veterans Kevin Cogan and Scott Brayton hold down 9th and 10th. Cogan with a Buick-powered machine, Brayton with a Cosworth. But the quartet of Fittipaldi, Unser Jr., Rahal, and Luyendyk seem destined to battle to the finish. With Fittipaldi leading 115 of the first 117 laps, his domination appears almost insurmountable. He makes a scheduled pit stop, giving Rahal the lead for the first time. When Rahal pits 4 laps later, Fittipaldi roars back to the forefront. But on lap 135, he pulls to pit road for a change of his right side tires under the green. Rahal sweeps back to the front, and Luyendyk takes over second. A lap later, John Andretti brushes the wall in 4, continues down the front stretch, and spins in turn 1, bringing out the final caution of the race. At lap 140, Rahal holds back Luyendyk, Fittipaldi, and Unser Jr. at a record pace of 182.478 miles an hour. He's running 9 miles an hour faster than any previous mark. Win, place, and show figure to be among these 4 drivers. But Fittipaldi makes a second unscheduled pit stop on lap 153 as right rear tire problems persist. The stop puts him 1 lap down to the front-running trio. 6 laps later, Lady Luck deals Al Jr. the same hand. He, too, drops a lap behind. Rahal is enjoying a comfortable lead when handling starts to play his machine, and Luyendyk starts to reel him in. On lap 162, Luyendyk matches Fittipaldi's earlier speed of 222.574 for the fastest lap of the race. The Flying Dutchman zeroes in on his target.
When I got to Bobby, we got to Scott Goodyear with the Mackenzie car and went through turn 2, and I could see Bobby was held up a little bit. And coming out of 1, I kind of lifted off and then got on it and timed it right. Would I come off the corner, I'd be right behind either Bobby or Scott Goodyear. So I drafted Goodyear, then I went out and by and drafted Bobby, and then I went by in turn 3.
A final pit stop remains, and Rahal makes his first. Two laps later, Lyondike follows suit but keeps the lead. The crowd is on its feet, watching a 500 title in the making. Lyondike, smelling victory, steps up the pace, stretching his lead over Rahal by a second a lap. Fittipaldi keeps up the chase, unlapping himself from Lyondike.
Looking at Emerson in my mirrors because I saw he was there and I knew what he was trying to do was to unlap himself, and then finally I just let him go. But that was really the reason why I never saw the white flag, because I was looking at the back marker. I was looking, you know, I didn't just go around the back marker. I made sure I was far enough away from the back marker in case anything happened. And I was looking in my mirrors at Emerson, and that's why I missed the white flag. So when I came around for the checker, I saw the check and I thought, oh, yeah, okay, we're done.
Lyondike's torrid pace at the end has raised the average speed to 185.981 for the fastest 500 in history by more than 15 miles an hour over the previous record. Rahal, Fittipaldi, and Unser Jr. finished second, third, and fourth, respectively. And veteran Grand Prix driver Eddie Cheever is given Rookie of the Year honors. For the 36-year-old Lyondike, the victory is his first in 76 championship races. For Team Shearson, too, it is the first visit to victory lane at Indy in 9 attempts.
It was kind of hectic. But Mika and myself, we had a little moment to ourselves. I don't know, it felt like half a minute, must have been maybe 10 seconds. But we had a little moment to ourselves, and I took a little bit of time with her when she came to congratulate me in the cockpit when I just took my helmet off. And then I got out, and then we started doing the show business, I guess. Because I knew what was coming, because it's a madhouse. But I enjoyed it. I mean, the fans, you know, they all stuck around, and it was a lot of fun.
The Flying Dutchman takes home nearly $1.1 million out of a record purse of over $6.3 million for the 1990 Indy 500. Lyondike became the 15th driver to score his first career IndyCar victory here at the Brickyard. He, along with 4 others, would go on to win again, with one of those drivers, Louis Meyer, becoming the first 3-time Indy 500 winner. And while the Flying Dutchman lived up to his nickname by capturing the fastest 500 IndyCar race to date, his record would fall less than 3 months later when Al Unser Jr. recorded his first 500 victory in the Michigan 500. Even though they didn't accomplish the goal in 1990, it's probably just a matter of time before the Andrettis become the first family to have 4 members competing in the same 500. I'm Bob Jenkins. We hope you've enjoyed reliving the 1990 Indianapolis 500. Be sure to join us again for another Legends of the Brickyard.